Hello and welcome to join me as we explore Akranes, a nice fishery and industry village in West Iceland and the home of little under 8,000 people. My name is Gylfi and I will be your host today. And as usual, we start the journey on a map. And this time our destination is less than an hour away from Reykjavík, our capital. And we are approaching Akranes from its best angle during autumn, heading towards the town's main landmark, the Lighthouse. The mountains show us that the winter is near, and the footage I'm showing you today was shot in 3 visits. So I will also be showing you a bit of the Icelandic winter from time to time. And the lighthouses are a great place to start today's journey. The older one, further away, was built in 1918. Due to the shortage of steel after the war, the actual lighthouse, the cover around the lamp, was built from iron plates from the wreckage of a ship, Goðafoss. It was cargo ship number 2 to belong to an Icelandic company and a certain milestone in the nation's struggle for independence. So it was a huge loss when it ran aground in 1917. But the lighthouse is still there. And the larger lighthouse took over the role of the old one in 1947. And when tourism in Iceland started to grow enormously after 2010, the local people soon figured out that the lighthouse was this extremely strong tourist magnet. Hundreds of thousands of tourists have visited it. So the municipality based the tourist information center by the lighthouse, and it's most likely the only lighthouse in Iceland that is formally open for tourists. It's been used for photography exhibitions, art performances, and even concerts due to the unique sound in there. This is probably one of the most photographed lighthouses in Iceland, and overall Akranes is a very photogenic town. As for me though, I've been here numerous times, like last year when I stopped for an hour here, and I forgot myself a bit while waiting for some birds to get closer, and forgot my tripod on the pier. This is however the countryside, and the morning after I called a friend in a nearby town. He called his daughter who lives in this town, and she picked up the tripod that was still there. And I'm not so sure if I would have been so lucky if I would have left it by the harbor in Reykjavík. And Reykjavík harbor was actually for decades a ferry harbor serving this town. It sailed several times a day to Akranes since it wasn't always so easy to get there as now. Before 1998, the highway to Akranes ran through a deep fjord called Hvalfjrur, and the driving time was about 90 minutes. So the ferry was a fast and easy way straight to Reykjavík downtown. It was then a private company based in Akranes that built road tunnels. No ordinary road tunnels. Sub-sea tunnels under the fjord. The project was privatized because it was too big for the Icelandic road administration. So the company from Akranes owned and operated the tunnels until the time when road tolls had paid the project fully. And that was in 2018. And as planned, the ownership and the administration of the tunnels was then transferred to the road administration. And since then, it's been free to drive under the fjord. The deepest point is 165 meters below sea level, and the tunnel shortened the way around the fjord by almost an hour, which was this spectacular change for us living up north or in West Iceland or the West Fjords. But it was the inhabitants of Akranes that benefited the most, as it made it possible to work in the city and live in Akranes. So this region would become one continuous labor market. It would help them to attract big industrial companies. So there's a large aluminium smelter in the fjord that once was nothing but an obstacle. Akranes is however not by highway number 1. So this is a little detour from the north tunnel entrance. And as we approach the town, we find a junction that will lead us back to the highway. But now we are entering the town from the east. And basically, Akranes is the typical Icelandic fishery town. Its history dates back to the 9th century, when this land was settled by the brothers Þormóður and Ketill, who came from Ireland. And in fact, it's possible to spend a lot of time in the town's history. It took this ambitious municipality 14 years and $1 million just to write the first 2 books about the history of Akranes. But my version will be shorter and cheaper. The town started to form in the mid-17th century, and it became a township in 1942, and from there it would flourish and grow as an industrial town as well, making it today the 9th largest municipality in Iceland. So it was not just the fishery industry that made the town grow. The first and only cement factory was established here in 1958, and it used raw materials like shell sand from the bay between Reykjavík and Akranes and Icelandic rhyolite. It was a state-owned company and important workplace for the community for decades. But it was not a beautiful workplace though. Later it was privatized, but cement sales would later collapse, or after the bank collapse in 2008. So the factory closed, and the accumulated knowledge on product development would go the same way as the old factory chimney, making room for a new residential area by the seaside. But first, the factory was made immortal when a filming crew came to shoot some scenes for Fast and Furious 8, and the local people had lots of fun filming this from their balconies. And from that same place, during winter, we can see the remains of the old cement factory that are all gone now. But what comes to mind when Icelanders think of Akranes? We used to remember the chimney that we could see from Reykjavík, reminding us about the industrial history. But the new industry is by sea level, or this well-known sandy beach. Sea swimming has been practiced for a long time here, and they just built a new little pool there with changing rooms and outdoor showers, which is this very good addition to those traditional Icelandic baths that we see pop up all around my country. Or should we say, cool competition. But most famous is the town for the football team. They have had this very strong soccer tradition around here for decades, often been among the best, and many strong players were brought up here. And the local football field is something else, just by the seaside. Some shelter for the fans from the cold winds. And here you can see which years they won titles. And in general, it can be said that this town has produced an unusually good number of athletes. They have good indoor facilities as well, and notice the rusty roof. The ocean gives and the ocean takes. And as we move on, we find the swimming pool. The hot tubs are excellent. I've tried them, but I'm not going to interrupt the people there so much. So I'm turning away, moving up, and turning south now, so we can see Reykjavík and the Reykjanes Peninsula. The tunnel entrance is just behind the mountain, Akrafjall, which can be this picture-perfect subject to work with, but not this day. It used to be an island during or after the last ice age, and there are many popular hiking routes up there, and the highest peak in the range is at an elevation of 640 meters. And since the tunnel opened in 1998, the number of inhabitants has increased by 2,500. So real estate prices have gone up. More often we hear stories about people who cannot get rid of their properties due to lack of work or other circumstances. But not around here, and that is good. And the next town to the north is Borgarnes. And there we find the highway junction to the north and to the west of Iceland. So both of those towns are well situated for tourists who want to stay out of the city and move around. So let's move downtown now. And if someone would ask me how to define Icelandic architecture, I might say that it doesn't exist in a way. Many of the first timber houses were imported from Norway, and then we started to build from concrete, and the result is that many Icelandic towns are rather disorganized variety of architectural styles. So that may be the Icelandic style. But even so, I kind of like it here, especially where the houses have been renovated and everything looks neat. And streets like this are in a way more appealing to me than many of the new copy-paste neighborhoods. I always like to drive around here, even though we do find that the new houses are not always fitting. And in between, we find something like this, something we hardly see anymore, tiny little barber shop, and I wish that we were building this still today, but we are not. They even have one of the strangest churches in Iceland. It's from 1896, and it's not quite the typical Icelandic church building. It's a bit strange, I must say, mainly due to the position of the windows. And when I was trying to find a short summary of the history of the church, like a 30-second version for this video, it became a bit tricky. We are a nation of storytellers. I found a complete book with 350 pages. So again, historians on steroids. But let's continue by the seaside, and many of those houses have been renovated. I'm not sure how it is to live so close by the sea. This is not California, but the northern lights are like nothing else from here. And since the old cement factory was demolished, I feel as the town has a chance to look better than ever, or this fresh start to work from the infrastructure they already have in order to get some of the tourists from Reykjavík up here. And like I sometimes do in these episodes about Icelandic towns, I checked TripAdvisor and hotels.com and booking.com just to see what's going on, and the guest houses offered excellent value. But as for the main attractions, there are museums here of course, but it was mostly the nature around. That was the main attraction. And deep in the fjord Hvalfjrur, that once was this obstacle for growth, it is today one of the main attractions that ranks number 1 when you look up Akranes on TripAdvisor. And the main attraction in Hvalfjrur is the waterfall Glimmer. And it's a tricky photo subject. I've been there once, not with a drone, and I will not go there again without a drone. So it's a challenge to get the perfect picture up there, but always a pleasant hike. And the fjord itself, before the tunnels, was for many of us Icelanders the most boring road in Iceland. When we were driving deep into this fjord, the last leg of the road before Reykjavík. So those tunnels have done so much for us. And I didn't go into the fjord for many years after the tunnels opened. Then later, we just rediscovered the fjord for its nature and history, and of course, for how quiet it is now, since the highway moved. The fjord, Hvalfjrur, would also play a big part in the occupation of Iceland during the war. Allied forces had a base here. Naval and commercial ships would gather forces here before the journey over the Atlantic. And then we have a controversial whale station here. So I have plenty of material, only covering the fjord, and I might do that later. But let's go back to Akranes. Overall, in my opinion, it's the ideal place to see the real life in Iceland, not just the tourist front, and be close to nature. And I have a feeling that Akranes might grow even faster in the coming years. The traffic in Reykjavík is getting a bit boring for many of us, and the unrest on the Reykjanes Peninsula will in future, from time to time, be causing inconvenience in the form of earthquakes and air pollution. So the metropolitan area needs to be developed to the north, rather than to the south where we have the plate boundaries. And that is a subject I'm working on in the geology section on my channel, where I cover seismic unrest under Iceland, volcanoes and more. And this video is only one of many that will cover all towns and villages. So please consider to subscribe for all there is to know about my home country, Iceland.